All right, everybody, how we doing? You never know when you record a video about the financial news. You record it before the market opens. You talk about what you think might happen, and then you go off about your day, and you're kind of like, "Oh, I wonder how everything finished up." I've been checking just in the last hour or so about some of the things we talked about around 6 a.m. Pacific, and I really couldn't imagine them sort of falling better for us heading in the weekend. And I really want to talk about this as we're kind of wrapping up a Friday. News could always spark on the weekend and change this, but let's talk about, let's assume nothing negative happens over the weekend and what these things might mean for the economy. So first off, the trade war, right? Uh, the trade war has been a topic on this channel in daily news probably 5 out of 7 days for the last 2 months, maybe 2.5 months. So pretty top of mind. It looks like today there's been substantial movement to a phase one trade deal. No specifics have been released. There's talk about technology, there's talk about some finances and currency and all of that. But both sides have talked about phase one being done. So it really looks like some concrete steps have been put in place. Both of the most senior leaders are talking about it getting done. So that's going to happen. In addition, it's been stated that the tariffs that were going to go in place next week have been canceled, if not delayed. So if we take this trade war phase one step as a kind of a moment in time and we look forward and assume there are no gigantic retreats, one step forward, two-step back things, what could this mean for our economy? First off, clearly the trade war phase one is going to be very agricultural based. I think it's very clear if you see what's going on in China that food is a problem and food is a necessity. The folks, the population of China has been paying more and more for food. We are a great exporter of it. I'm sure that's going to be part of this first phase. So our economy in the farm belt will start moving again, which probably it will certainly be good for the region. I don't know harvest schedules and who was impacted, not impacted. Does the stuff get shipped somewhere else if no one buys it? Right? What's the how long can it stay on the shelf kind of stuff or in storage? But I would say that this trade war going forward is good for our economy. It is going to lower expenses. It's going to hopefully get the movement going. I don't think it takes. I don't think it jumps the economy from 2% growth to 4%, but I think it absolutely lowers the downside risk. So lowering the downside risk is good for all of us. It means this long expansion can keep going on, which is really, really cool. Thank you very much, Howard. I'm glad you like it. Appreciate you leaving a comment. That's very nice. So I think this phase, again, assuming no blowups and tweets and you calling my mama this or that going on in the world, this is a step forward. And I think the downside risk to the U.S. economy is greatly reduced, like greatly reduced. I've seen some numbers that have us between 1.7 and 2 for growth here. I don't see it going lower than that. In fact, I see this potentially picking up going forward, right? We'll probably have another 1.7, 1.8 kind of next quarter as this kind of unwinds. Remember how the trade war happened, right? The first couple of tariffs really didn't hit the consumers until it was like 6 or 9 months later. So it'll be the same kind of thing, except in reverse, right? The actual manufacturers will start building and agricultural folks will start shipping, but it will take a while to ripple through the greater part of the economy. So that's good news. We've lowered the risk. Turn that on its head, and what have we been asking for, or what did we think would happen? Is we saw a slowdown. We didn't see any path to a resolution with the trade war. So everybody's been calling for the Fed to cut rates. I have gone as far as to say I thought a half point would be on the table for the end of October. Assuming this trade agreement sticks, that's off the table. I can't see the Fed cutting a half because they all know that the system will pick up. That said, I also can't see them not doing a quarter. I think they're going to want that insurance cut. I think consumer prices and all of those things have been trending down, which showing inflation is not there, right? They're deathly afraid of deflation. So I think assuming this sticks, and for me, it's got to get through this weekend because you never know where misunderstandings happen. If it gets through this weekend and phase one is still talked about by Monday, my half a point call for a cut is off the table. I think it'll be a quarter at the end of October. So that's the first good news. Let's again hope it sticks. The other thing that I think was going on, as I talked about, there was an Iran tanker was attacked. I think they said 2 missiles struck it. It seems like I heard missiles and I thought explosion, like boom. It seems like that didn't happen. It seems like they fixed it and it's kind of doing its thing. No immediate response from either side, so that's kind of, you got to watch out for that. But where I'm going with this is it doesn't seem to have spiked oil, and it doesn't seem like oil will be much higher going forward, right? Because this whole that part of the world, if it gets in a fight and it starts taking out oil infrastructure like refineries and tankers, could get bad, right? So it doesn't appear to be going that direction. So that's another good thing for us because oil, if we remember anything from a couple of years ago when oil was over $100, oil kind of ripples through our economy and is in so many things, it really pulls inflation higher. So that's very interesting. And then the other thing is it looks like the UAW GM strike, certainly not resolved. I'm not trying to say that. But again, monumental steps towards a possible resolution, right? I talked about this morning the CEO being in the room, and I talked about, you know what, I expect an announcement today. We got it. They've increased the offer and in the investment in US based plants to $7.7 billion over the next decade or so, if memory serves. So GM is certainly trying. I don't think you can pull back the developments that are going on in Mexico. If you know anything about the automotive industry, once they get a manufacturing line set up, it needs to run the duration, right? They're building, I think it's the Silverado and something else there. So it's not, it's you can't unwind that at least easily. So again, hopefully, frankly, hopefully over the weekend, fingers crossed, the GM and UAW can come to some tentative agreement and we can get back to making GM cars. We can get back to that. Again, it'll take a while to spin up, but we can get back and people can stop living on strike pay and all this. It's just really terrible. So, and then the last thing is the Fed. Again, the Fed interjected money into the monetary system for the short-term rates. We talked about it this morning. It seems to be working. The Wall Street seems to like it, if you know what I mean. But again, I think this trade war and all these other things going to let the Fed lower a quarter, and my half call is off the table. So in the end, I thought it was a pretty good Friday. I took a shot before the markets opened with what I thought would happen. I do these things daily. Again, I'm doing more videos yesterday and today, again, because I'm traveling without my wife and I need something to do or else I just go crazy. So hopefully this is helpful. I hope everybody has a good weekend and take care of yourself.